Hi, Pi Ohio. I'm really excited to be talking to you today. My name is Heidi Waterhouse, and I'm a transformation advocate at LaunchDarkly. I'm here today to talk to you about kitchens and code and what they have to do with each other. Imagine walking a mile in these shoes. In Edwardian America, that was pretty much how everybody rolled. We didn't really have Crocs or squishy shoes at all, and so everybody wore shoes like this all the time. Walking a mile in those seems like it might be maybe a little uncomfortable. Now imagine walking 2 miles. And it's not like you're walking 2 miles to get somewhere. You're walking 2 miles back and forth across your kitchen to bake a cake. That's a lot to make a cake. I know this because it was studied by a woman named Lillian Muller-Gilbreth. Her work touches you every day. She was the one who came up with the idea of wall-mounted light switches instead of walking into a room and fishing over your head for a ceiling pull. She came up with foot-operated trash cans. Every time you use one of these things, you're building off her background in industrial psychology. And one of the things she studied was kitchens, and she found that it took 2 miles to bake a cake. Because this was the ideal Edwardian kitchen then. You see the big natural light, the sink with actual running water, and the large work surface. You can also see that all of the work surfaces are what we would consider too low, and that you might want roller skates to get across this kitchen. But this was state of the art in, say, 1917. Kitchens now are smaller, but better, because we've started using something that Lillian pioneered, the kitchen triangle, where we have these points of contact, the fridge, the stove, the sink, and the counters, so that nothing is more than a couple steps away from anything else. And that gives us so much more ability to get things done because we're not spending a lot of time in transit and we're not spending a lot of time going around things. Ergonomics matter. You know this if you've ever gotten a repetitive motion injury, or even if you've done work that you're not used to, like yard work. You're like, oh, there's a reason we pay for the extra expensive snow shovels that are more ergonomic. Ergonomics really matter to how we do things, but we mostly think about that for our physical bodies and not how we work on computers. I was thinking about this and have been thinking about this for years after a talk by Adam Cuppy called Mechanically Confident, and I've put a link to that in this slide resource. Mechanically confident is about knowing where all of your things are so you don't have to think about them. But I want to take it a step further. How do we change our coding, our spaces, to match our tasks? How do we change this giant kitchen from a vast cavernous area to some place that we can turn around and make a cup of tea without actually taking any steps? First, we have to really understand that we want to reduce toil. Toil is unnecessary work that isn't actually getting anything done. And then we want to make sure that we're doing less cognitive switching, because cognitive switching is really a killer of understanding what we're doing. You know that thing where every time when you go upstairs, you forget what you went upstairs to get, and then you come back downstairs and you see the thing that triggered you to get it, and then you have to go back upstairs again? Yet that happens to our brains when we switch windows even. When you switch from your IDE to your bug tracker, sometimes you forget what you were doing in one or the other of them. So we want to reduce all of the places that you switch that context so that you can keep more things in your working memory. So if we really want to do better code ergonomics, here are some things that we can remember. We can remodel our code kitchen by emphasizing proximity and frequency, and by giving ourselves guardrails to protect against real problems. If you have linters that protect you from typing something that's invalid, then you don't have to worry about remembering not to do that because you're going to be saved from that. You're going to be kept on the road. When we change anything about how we work, we have to remember to test and iterate it. It's really easy for us to change something and assume that because there was a change, it was better, but that's not always true. Sometimes the new way is not better than the old way. We need numbers to prove, both to ourselves and others, that what we're doing is actually better. So iterate and understand each little improvement that you make, and sometimes it's not an improvement and you're going to have to roll back and go back to doing something else. So if this was too long and you read Twitter instead, come on people, it's only 5 minutes. But remember this, work smarter, not harder. Build better ergonomics for yourself. If you have any questions for me or would like some downloaded material, please feel free to visit this URL and we'll get you set up. Thank you.